Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul back again, and this week it's the return of actual football, proper football. I mean, it was nice, wasn't it? It was nice. I know the results again, pre-season, blah blah blah, being absolutely shite, but it has been nice, hasn't it, to be able to watch football, talk about football, discuss our set pieces, formations, tactics, substitutions, all that sort of thing. So it has been nice to be able to discuss that over recent days. The results have been shite. It's been shite all pre-season. Not that pre-season actually matters one little fucking iota. I've seen some people get the knickers in a twist. It really doesn't mean jack shit, does it? I've seen us be undefeated all pre-season and then go on to have a shite season. I've seen us lose all pre-season and then go on to have a great campaign. It literally, in the big scheme of things, means absolutely nothing. Fuck all. It literally is just about fitness. Don't get me wrong. Trips all the way up to Glasgow, I would have liked to have seen a bit better, but in the big scheme of things, if we go on to have a decent campaign, then it'll be all very, very quickly forgotten about. But there is things that can't be so easily forgotten about, to be honest. Transfers. We'll start with transfers. Well, we'll start with some good news, because there is going to be a player signing today, known in Newcastle United. They'll probably do the deal today, and it might be announced Thursday, fucking Friday this week. Goodness me. Yes, the centre-back, the German centre-back from Italy, from Milan. Thank you again, Milan, for providing us players. Malick Thiaw, I think it's pronounced, but, it's a bit like with the Greek Nikos too, like a Demos, who's left and departed now. It took me ages before I could pronounce his name, so we'll take that with a pinch of salt. But yes, he's flying in today. He flew into Newcastle Airport. That's been documented. All the flight trackers out there watching the flight come in from Milan. Sky Sports over in Italy had the interview with him as he was getting ready. He'd gone back over, hadn't he? He was on the pre-season tour, flew back into Italy, gathered some personal belongings, and then came back to England, to Newcastle, for his medical and to sign the contract, to do the deal. That's now underway as I'm recording this. Crack a bird shit on Monday. And yeah, it'll be great to have him, through the door. Quality player. I think it's another player who Eddie Howe can work with and look to improve and integrate over the course of this season. He's looked at as the Fabian Schär, isn't he? Eventual successor. So we have at least this season to be able to gradually incorporate him into the team, into the system, getting used to Eddie Howe's methods, get the coaches working with him, improving his game here and there in some areas. And looking forward to welcoming him in. I think it's a good signing. It's an exciting signing. I think it's a fair price. Yes, we could have had him for cheaper even just a couple of weeks ago. He was nearly close to remove going, to stay in Serie A, but he turned the move down. He's obviously looking for European competition as well. Milan haven't got that. Newcastle United do. Obviously Champions League. So he's going to come in. It takes off a problem position for Newcastle United in the transfer market, and it puts to bed all that Mark Gay shite, which, to be honest, the £30 million is worth that alone. We don't have to hear the Gay links to Newcastle United any fucking more after the entire saga of last summer. It means you don't have to deal with Crystal Palace and their chairman fucking Parish. So happy fucking days. We get somebody in, and that's a pretty good, central defensive, unit that we've got there. If you look at the different players, the different styles, even having as well Lascelles back this season, that's fantastic cover. You've got Schär, you've got Byrne, you've got Botman, you've got the new lad as well. And then we do have a few youngsters as well pushing and knocking at the door. So I think that's pretty, like a pretty decent chord and a pretty decent foundation to be able to build on there. Does it need more work in the future, over future summers? Yes, because the defence is the most probably aging part of the Newcastle United squad. But for now, for succession planning, for taking a problem area, yeah, that'll do very, very nicely. Thank you very much. And then that allows us to concentrate, in these last few weeks on, again, another two very important areas. Striker. we need strikers in. We needed a striker in. We probably needed 2 strikers, in my opinion, when Callum Wilson left. The fact that Isak now is, well, he's spat his dummy out the fucking pram. He's hiding his fucking toys all over the place. Hey, God, what a fucking mess. It probably means that we need 2 or 3. You would say, to me, we need 3. Because as much as I like Wissa, and from watching him this pre-season, I just don't think he's at all anywhere near ready to be able to lead the line week in, week out, and to be able to be counted for. He's good for cameos, he's good for 5-10 minutes off the bench, but he is definitely still a work in progress. As much as I like the lad, you've got to say, with a realist hat on, if you were relying on him week in, week out to score your goals, we weren't going to score many goals. Him, Neve, definitely massive potential, but not for now. So it's important that we do bring people in. The Wissa situation, that is there or thereabouts. Craig Hope has been reporting on this for weeks, saying it's close, it's close, it's close, it's close. Wrap it up in whichever different types of words you want. You want to. It's like, it is literally within an ant's knob. His representatives flew in over the weekend on Saturday, I believe, to speak to Brentford to try and sort of speed up the process as much as possible. The contract details from our side are supposed to be absolutely all fine and dandy done. It's just a case of Brentford getting in their replacement. They are working on that. They are close themselves to that, and when they are done that is supposedly going to free up him to be able to complete his move to the northeast. Now, we've got a game this weekend. We're back to Premier League action. Do I think that he's going to be ready for that? No. I honestly don't. You can be fit, you can be training. He has returned to training. I'm going to get to the old striking bit in a little minute. That's all fine and dandy, but he hasn't played in games, so there is going to be ring rust there. There's no doubt about it. He hasn't had a proper pre-season. It is going to take him a little bit of time to get up to speed. Do I think he's a great signing? Yes, I do. I think he's a really good signing. He scored goals in the Premier League. At the sort of price we're talking about, 35 million in today's market, I think that's a cracking piece of business. He'll do what's needed to be done for at least a couple of years, and then that takes the pressure off to a certain degree, because I still think we need to be able to replace Isak, but I'll get to Isak again in a little bit. But yeah, I think it's more than decent. I think it's a smart move. It's maybe not the most fashionable name that possibly we could have gone out there and got, but it's all about getting the bodies through the door who can actually score the goals week in, week out. Without scoring goals, you ain't going to win games. We've got that many games coming up this season. We need to be able to rotate, change. There's plenty of opportunities for players to get their game time and stuff. It'll all be about rotation. It'll all be about the squad, and that's why it's so important in these last couple of weeks that we do strengthen it up. I'll finish off on strikers before I get to the midfield issues, and that is something else that needs sorting. Obviously, we're down to 4 at the moment. Willick will be back shortly, though. That'll knock it back up to 5. We need 6. But in striking terms, obviously, Isak has been a right little fucking bitch. I don't care how good you are. You don't do that. There's ways to be able to get a transfer. Great players have been at our club. Great players have gone from our club. Newcastle United will survive, no doubt about it. We did before Isak, we will after Isak. But it's left a very foul taste in your mouth, this whole saga. Yes, he should have done it a totally different way. He probably would have still got his wish, but it's such a bad look for the player. It's such a bad look as well for Liverpool and their pursuit and stuff like that. Oh my word, where to begin with this one? Where to fucking begin? I just lower my head and just shit, and it's like, oh fuck me, why have you done this? You could have been an absolute legend, regardless to whether you'd moved on or not. But now, like I say, you're just you're just the Michael Owen 2.0, aren't you? You're just a mercenary. You're just a little bitch. It's just, it was so fucking unnecessary. But yeah, it's just down tools. You got to read between the lines from what Eddie Howe has said, the club has said, the stuff that's been leaked out to the media. But yeah, he's basically, he's faked injury, which is highly unprofessional. So bang out of order. He's faked injury. He's not gone on the tour. That was a lucrative tour that the club had arranged, and was important for the future, because you're talking about expanding the commercial side of it, and expanding the Newcastle United brand. That brings in more revenue, which enables us to then spend more, to compete better, get better players, improve the squad, blah blah blah. He's refused to do that. He's refused to go on it. And then not only just that, he should have been at the training ground. He should have been working. He should have been training. He should have been rehabbing the injury, which wasn't an injury, as Eddie Howe has confirmed himself, to be honest. But instead, no, he went AWOL and pissed off to Spain. This is why, there's just, again, it comes back to, there's a way to do things. There was no need to burn bridges in the way that he has burned bridges. And there is no way back. There's absolutely nothing. I literally failed to find. I know Eddie Howe's, I'd like to be able to him back into training. I'd like to be able to, call on him for matches and stuff like that. After what he's done, I think it's a long road back, I must admit. 1,000% back Eddie Howe. I have done all the time. I will continue to. But to do what he has done, not for me. Not for me. Even if it meant Asula up front week in, week out, I'd rather take that than have an ungrateful, spoilt, pampered little bitch leading the line. It's about having standards, and how we deal with this, and how the club deals with it. And I'm surprised I haven't found them, to be honest, yet. But how that's dealt with, it impacts on others, because other players look on and they think, well, if I want to move, do I do that? Do I throw my toys out of the pram? Do I spit me dummy out? And that's just not what you want. It's all about discipline. It's all about respect. It's all about, putting the club first. The way that he's gone on, it's like he's on some sort of YTS scheme. He's on 30-40 quid a week. You're on 120 grand a week. You're hardly fucking destitute, are you? And he's whinging on, bitching on about wages. The club's tried to speak to him about signing a new contract, improving his wages. Yes, there was an issue with Paul Mitchell, but fuck me. Even the players must realise that, he didn't honour me and give me a new contract after all I'd done, blah blah blah. Paul Mitchell didn't do fucking many things, to be honest. He's fucked up multiple areas, so it's not like it was just targeted upon Isak and Isak alone. Paul Mitchell fucked up royally on so much. So, am I surprised? No, I'm not. But again, he's used to just, money. The club's gone to him, offering him extra money. No. Offered him, a fee to be able to get out of his contract, an escape clause every summer. Nah, not good enough. If you wondered if this was the plan all along, and I suspect it possibly could have been, then you should have put that in the contract when you signed the initial contract. You were happy to sign for 120 grand back then, and you didn't want to put in any sort of release clause. It just, honestly, your mind beggars when you think about the modern day footballer, and they want it all. They literally want it all. But I'm just glad, look, at the end of the day, yes, Isak's turned out to be a bit of a bad egg, a bit of a selfish bastard, a bit of a prick, but it just makes you realise and appreciate the likes of Trippier, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Tonali, who are there, who are bought into the project, who are bought into the culture of the club, not just fucking pretending when we're having celebration, we're kidding, all that sort of thing. Tokenism. These are people who have actually bought into the club, who could have gone to one of the top 6 teams in the country at the time they joined Newcastle United, but they went, you know what, I want to buy into the project, I want to give it a whirl, despite the fact that we were literally balls deep at the time in relegation trouble. That wasn't a consideration. They went for it, and you know, they're loving it and they're reaping the rewards of it. Yet Isak has just come, like I say, he's just come across as an absolute just fake little bitch, and I wouldn't want him personally anywhere near the team at all. I'd rather have somebody who grafts and cares and who's proud of the badge. I'd rather have your Trippiers, your Brunos, your Tonalis of the world, your Joe Lintons of the world, your Fabian Schärs, and so on and so forth. I'd rather have them. I'd rather have a team full of them than just a prima donna who was using the club and is just running around like an obsessed fucking teenager of a fucking Liverpool. Yes, I'm not arguing over the fact, we're a bigger club there. It would take an absolute moron to be able to say, oh, well, we're bigger than you, or this, that, and the other. You know, we haven't had the success, but we haven't had the investment. We haven't had the opportunity. We're at the beginning still of a project, a complex project. The issues we're experiencing is down to PSR. It's not down to ownership. It's not down to anything else. But we're having to do this with one hand tied behind our back and probably a fucking leg as well. You know? So again, the realists would be able to see this. If you were any sort of a decent person as a player, you'd be able to see the problems that the club is facing and how they are trying to tackle them. We're looking towards a new stadium and your new training ground. You know, we're trying to reward the players as much as is humanly possible whilst building against the backdrop of all this PSR bollocks. But no, Mr. Selfish, he's on strike and he's not to be turned, he's not to be moved. He still picks up his £120,000 a week, and he did do whilst he was at AWOL. He did do whilst he refused to go on the tour and so on, and you know, refused to play against Celtic. 10,000 Geordies travelling up there wanting to see Isak, and just getting rightfully and utterly screwed over by the bloke. So for that reason, I would just say, look, fuck off. £150 million, get the payment in. Who that's off, I don't really care. And let's just see, if it is Liverpool, does he have the balls to be able to come back in that first home game of the season and to see what the response is? Because if he's thinking that he's going to get any sort of, oh, well, thanks for everything that you've done. No, because you've absolutely and utterly spoilt the whole fucking thing. You spoilt your legacy through absolute pure greed. I say, I could understand if you were fucking destitute or low on money or out like that, but it's not as if he's getting £2.50, is it? So it's unbelievable to me, it really is. So I'd just tell him, I wouldn't give a shit who do. Go. Don't want to see you again. I'll take the money and I'll get it reinvested before the end of this window on maybe 2 or 3 players to be able to bring in good quality, to be able to improve the squad, and off we go again. That's what you've got to do. That's what PSR, I suppose, is all about these days. It's about selling players on and reinvesting the money that you get in, and away you go again. Is it gutting that we're losing a world-class player? Yeah, it is. But I'd rather lose a world-class player than have an absolute rat about the squad, to be honest. And if I was another member of that squad, if I was a Bruno or anybody like that, I'd be sitting there looking, you know what? I don't actually want him in. I don't want him in with his attitude and his look at the club and how he's just using the club basically as an absolute stepping stone, and has got the brass neck just to not even disguise it, not even trying to be clever about it. You know, he could have got what he wanted but done it in a much better way. He could have left with the respect and the thanks and the gratitude of the Newcastle United fans, but instead he is leaving as worse than fucking Michael Owen, and that takes some going, believe me, because I can't fucking stand Michael Owen. The absolute he's a skip rat as well. So gets me onto the last bit. It's come out today. Romano and all them have mentioned it, that Newcastle United are interested in a midfielder, a goal-getting midfielder. I would still like to have seen a Joe Linton 2.0, somebody who can get in there and do the physical when Joe Linton needs to be taken out and when he needs to be rested if he's injured. I would like to have seen a younger version of Joe Linton 2.0 to be able to go in there, but by the looks of it, we're looking for somebody a little bit more offensive in the middle of the park. Radoni of Coventry has been mentioned previously. Paqueta has been linked over the weekend as well, Bruno's mate. And hey, way to keep Bruno happy, isn't it? Signing his mates, all Brazilian potential midfield three there you could go for. but obviously we're not going to drop Denali, are we? So yeah, different names being mentioned. I think the Radoni one makes a lot of sense if we can bring him in for a good fee. You know, Championship's best player and all. And it's about getting young, isn't it? To me, getting younger players in, and integrating them in slowly, bit by bit, as Eddie Howe likes to do. So let me know what you think about midfield reinforcements. It looks like we are going to get at least a midfielder and at least another attacker, you would think, through on top of Wissa and on top of Malick Thiaw. I'm hoping I'm still pronouncing that correctly, but you know what I mean at the end of the day. So yeah, let me know what you think. We've still got a lot of business to do between now and the end of the season. So much for Eddie Howe's wish for getting it done all nice and early. You know, back to Premier League action this weekend. It's going to be a difficult trip. You'd imagine Gordon, as long as he recovers from the twisted ankle that he had at the weekend, he'll lead the line against Aston Villa alongside Barnes and Alanga. It's far from ideal. It's square pegs and round holes, which you know I don't like. But, you know, I'm an eternal optimist. I've seen it all, so you just don't know. It would be typical of Newcastle to go down there to get the victory and to get the 3 points. That would be absolutely fucking lovely. But it is great to be back talking about football and looking forward. And I've got a little bit of personal news as well, but I can't bring that to you quite at this moment. But yeah, stay tuned across our socials. Got some more exciting stuff to be able to come and to bring to you new stuff for the new season, all about Newcastle United. So I'll leave it there, and in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, subscribe to all the socials, and I'll speak to you later.